There they are, Kevin Eubanks and the Tonight Show Band. Thank you, Jay Leno, for passing their info off to us, playing the Soliana New City riff there. Hello, welcome back. You've made it another week. It is Sonic Weekly. Grant is me, one of your hosts, and with me is Bo. Hi, Bo.
Beat me up. I am happy to be talking about Sonic with friends again.
We do it every 7 days or so with the star of the show that we drag out of the shadows and into the spotlight. It's David the Lurker.
Whoa! Hi, Grant. Hi, Bo. Yep, that's right. Always forcibly dragged, with permission, of course.
Yes, you do have a safe word, and it's... Well, we shouldn't say what it... It's Mario, but we shouldn't let the audience know that.
No, because then they'll say it. Or wait. Well, what would they do with it?
I think it's okay if you say it. Yeah,
right.
There's no problem, actually.
Yeah.
Well, if they ever hear me say Mario and that ends up in the final cut, they know
you're in danger.
They know I'm in danger.
They know to call Dateline at that point.
Yeah.
Because we're going to make the news.
Right. And this is why I never had a Super Nintendo growing up.
Yeah. Actually, we're making the news for a good reason in this scenario. It's not a murder pact. I just want to make that clear.
Uh-huh.
It seemed like we were implying that we were going to murder each other.
We're off to a normal...
We're probably not going to do that.
A normal start.
Right.
Yeah, this is a normal start.
It's right. This is why I always say, hey, we should do it again, but we never do. Actually, I feel like I don't generally say that.
That's the first time you've ever said it, but it feels like a thing you might have said in the past.
I might have said once. I feel like it's something you say more often than not. Like, let's start over. Let's pretend this never happened. Actually, let's pretend we never went on the internet to begin with.
Yeah.
We'll be that one guy who's like, oh, I remember AOL 50 free hours. I never bothered. That's
I am taking the plot point of Job from season 4 of Arrested Development, where he gets into a pattern of roofing himself and he doesn't remember doing it. So it's an infinite loop of just not knowing what's going on. That's the pattern that is what makes this show possible.
Right. That
is not having a strong memory. Anyway, David, what else is going on?
That's right. Hey, did you know that we're not that extended introduction might make you think there's no one here. There's nothing to talk about. But that's actually the complete opposite. We do have a guest. If you saw the title, you probably already know who it is. But this is a man, an internet extraordinaire. That wasn't a proper sentence, but that's okay. He's someone who's been on the internet for quite a while. He's made a name for himself. He is a Sonic fan extraordinaire. That's probably what I was trying to say. Not an internet extraordinaire. That makes no sense.
Who is it, David?
Who is it? I'm like, he's on YouTube. He's got his own site. Better late than never. The man, the myth, the legend. He also made Mario Ween. Can't
just
forget that.
Just say the name, David.
It's Blaze Hedgehog.
Oh my God.
It's a me.
Hi, Blaze.
It's a long resume. I'm sorry.
Start from when Blaze was born. It might be faster.
Okay.
Well, it was 1983.
Oh.
Okay. So that's good. That's like just enough time to like develop some brain mass so that when Sonic arrives, it's ready to just go straight in.
Exactly. I was the prime age. I was like 8 years old when Sonic 1 came out. I was the target demographic.
Wow.
Were you there from the beginning with Sonic?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember seeing it. I don't know if it was 1990. It might have been 91. Seeing like demo units and watching kids put in the level select code and not really understand what they were doing, just knowing how to skip levels. And like there was a line to play that thing like 6 or 7 kids deep. You had to wait a while to play Sonic 1.
Wow.
Do you remember what date that was? Because one of David's things is that Sonic's birthday is not accurate. That there were some kiosks and some SKUs that were available prior to June 23rd.
It was so far back, I do not remember now.
Oh.
The only date I can really nail down is that when I got to play it like for myself, like a personal version, my brother got a Genesis in 1991 for Christmas. And it was New Year's 91 going into 92. They wanted me out of the house because they wanted to watch scary movies New Year's Eve. Like, okay, well, what can Ryan do? He can't sit here in the living room. They were going to watch Pulse, not the recent Japanese Pulse movie. This was like a 1980s horror movie about living electricity. Too scary for me at 8 or 9 years old. So they sent me up to my brother's room, and that's where I sat down and I played Sonic the Hedgehog for like 2 hours straight. And that was when I got hooked. and I've never left.
That sounds great.
Because shortly afterwards, my brother moved out, so I didn't have access to that Genesis anymore.
Oh,
So I spent like a really long time as a kid trying to chase the Sega Genesis, trying to play Sonic again, and I never could.
I think that is actually prime Sega Genesis. Actually, the Genesis is too cool for you. It is only for your older brother.
Exactly.
That Gen X guy who you look up to, but you're not sure why. But man, that is the story of the Sega Genesis.
Exactly.
Just out of your reach.
Yeah, the older brother console for sure. Even if you were the older brother, it was like your friend's older brother then.
Yeah.
Right. What happens if you were like 35 in 91?
Well, what was it like, David? I don't know.
All right. Heck. I was younger. I am younger than Blaze. See, I feel like not often we have guests I'm younger than. Right?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not like
I don't know how old you are. I've never asked.
Oh,
I've never needed to know.
That's true. I was born in 1919. That's how it's. Yes. No, 85. So I was 6 when Sonic 1 came out. And also, so that makes me go like, oh, because I've always had the memory that I also was able to play at Christmas of 91. But
yeah,
I saw video footage that may contradict that, but I don't believe it because it doesn't make sense to the core essence of my being.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for another day, I think.
Well, that's why Sonic 2 was the one that was the dagger into my heart, because I was born 86, so a little bit younger. It takes a little bit longer for me to have the brain mass to perceive Sonic as he's meant to be seen, because he's so fast.
Right.
Faster than the naked eye. That's for sure.
That's right. If a baby sees someone run fast, they don't. It's like they're like dinosaurs, right? They no, wait, that's the opposite. Because if you stand still, they can't notice you. Like I've watched Jurassic Park, which I think is 100% accurate scientifically.
Yeah, we're going to get into the flicker fusion rate real deep here.
Yes, and we will circle back around to more Sega Sonic memories as well. But one thing we do each week on this show is keep current and date every episode to let you know when we recorded it by checking the news from Sonic Stadium. David, what's new in the world of Sonic T Hedgehog?
Whoa, there are a few new things rolling out. I feel like the top story on sonicstadium.org, of course, our silent partner, because they don't know we exist, is, hey, did you hear about a little thing called the Switch 2? Yeah. Hey. And it looks like, right, pre-orders came up. Some people got it, some people didn't. I did not. And hey, what's coming out? Right, Grant's going to get it. He's going to be on the ground.
I will.
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. It's that. Speaking of birthdays, it's coming out right around my birthday, 5 days before my birthday.
Ooh, okay.
Do the math, and you can figure out when I was born, and know that I'm a Gemini, and that is why the Switch 2 is something that's pre-ordered. But I'll tell you one thing about the Switch 2. Sonic X Shadow Generations is one of the Sega launch titles with it. I just got an email from Sega about this.
Right.
Is that where you were going with the news story?
Yes. Directly from the CEO, I bet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. There's 4 Sega games. I was about to say Sonic games. 4 Sega games. Of course, Sonic X Shadow, Yakuza 0, Director's Cut, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, and whatever Redo Remastered is. I'm actually not familiar with that game.
It's like an RPG.
Oh, that's why I'm not familiar with it. RPGs are my big blind spot.
It's like the Shin Megami Tensei series, I think.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, one of those spinoffs.
Right.
So it's in the Atlas family.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Hey, and it's $50. And if you already have it on Switch 1, too bad. It's $50.
Sonic X Shadow Generations is 50?
Well, according to this, $49.99 USD.
Are you sure it's not more?
I'm looking at the press release.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. All right. Honestly, I thought it was more. Let me click the pre-order now button.
Right. I mean, because Mario Kart World is 80, right? Unless did that change?
No, you're right. It's 50. You're right. I guess it's because you know what it is. If you're looking at the digital deluxe edition, then it's 60. That's where the confusion may lie.
It is on one of those carts that don't have the game on it, right?
Which is going to be how all the Switch 2 game cartridges, I guess. Like apparently like 90% of the cartridges are just not, they're really just essentially key cards with a digital download. Some of them are just empty boxes, like Split Fiction, I think is just straight up an empty box with a download code.
Wow.
I've been buying digital for the last generation and a half, so I personally have anticipated this moment and have reduced my box. But I think it's not good. I don't think it's like a good thing. But also, Sonic X Shadow Generations, we should point out that a lot of people have been upset online that there's not a clear path to upgrade if you had the Switch 1 version. Basically, if you bought the Switch 1 version, it will play on Switch 2 as advertised. It will play on Switch 2 probably better than it does on Switch 1 as advertised. But it won't have 60 frames. It won't have the best resolution. It won't be the Switch 2 version. You've got to pay you got to do the whole thing all over again because it's a new system. Mm-hmm. But doesn't it feel like they're kind of picking on Nintendo people? Because PlayStation and Xbox, you're buying it both at the same time. PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, you're getting it both at the same time. You can upgrade for a nominal fee. It seems like it should just be $10 to upgrade, or if you're on the Nintendo Switch Online, you get it free. It should be something like that, but it's not. And I guess the reason is because they're greedy. Well, there's more to it. It's also, I guess, the system architecture, for one thing. Switch 2 is not natively running the Switch 1 games. I was rereading the Ask a Developer interview. This is what I'm kind of pulling from. So it's not like 3DS to DS. It's not like Wii U to Wii, or it's not like even GameCube, where there was like a GameCube essentially in the Wii and just like running it straight. Like it's more half emulating it and half running it off of hardware. In any case, I'm not saying that they couldn't give us a rebate. I'm not saying it doesn't feel like we were kind of fleeced a little bit because I bought it. I double dipped. I got it on Switch 1 as well as PlayStation. And, if I had known that there was that this is what the final reveal would be with Switch 2 and Switch 1, I probably would have waited. That's where it feels like. But I played myself is what I have to ultimately come to terms with, because Nintendo didn't. There was no promise that nobody misled me. I misled myself. And we all kind of did that, I think. That's my take.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue with that because, like, on most games I play are on the PC. I have a Switch, but I don't have any. I don't have a PS5. I don't have an Xbox 123 snip or clip or whatever it's called. So it's not something I've paid super close attention to, but it does seem a little silly that there isn't some path, especially if other console ecosystems have done that. But I guess it's also
great's more because it's a recent release, but aren't all the ones you just mentioned re-releases or reissues?
They are all. I know the Yakuza 0, like there's supposed to be extra cutscenes and a couple extra things in there, so it is technically different. I don't know what the difference is with Puyo Tetris 2S. If there's, I don't know. I didn't look that up. I know there is more stuff.
I think with Puyo Tetris S, if I remember reading right, there's like a co-op mode now that is exclusive to that. It's like 2 players per well.
Okay, so they are upgrading.
And I think they added mouse controls too.
Ooh, okay.
I read that.
Right. So I guess with these other releases, they're at least adding something to it. But with Sonic X Shadow, because it is such a recent game, it's just the game. They're not even saying, hey, there's an exclusive Switch 2 level that will justify this $50 price tag, which it still wouldn't, but there might be more people inclined to triple dip, as it were. I don't know. I mean, at this point, they're probably just going through with it. I know on the rarest of occasions, sometimes Sega changes the way they're going about these things, but new hardware, new rollout.
It would be nice if they walked it back, but
yeah.
They don't even have to walk it back for because it makes sense. The thing of okay, Switch 2 is theoretically on a shelf, and here's the launch day games, and you want the Sonic X Shadow Generations game to be their launch day. That makes sense, but there should just be some kind of
something.
There just be an upgrade because it's there for the Zelda games, man. You're telling me that it's got to be that should have just been the template, $10 or Nintendo Switch Online. That seems reasonable, and I think most people would have been happy not arguing with it. But you raise an interesting point, which is how much do they care about us complaining anymore? There was a lot of complaining about Nintendo Switch 2 prices, and then it's now had the most successful pre-orders, so it's going to have the most successful launch just by virtue of taking that many pre-orders, right? Because they've taken 6 million globally or something, and now I forget what point I was making.
Price has been justified by the market, and good on Nintendo for not immediately running headfirst into a shortage like they did with the GameCube, like they did with the Wii, like they did with the Switch. This time they're capturing it all.
yeah, I mean, all of the Switch 2 pre-orders sold out, right? You can't pre-order it now. And it seemed like it was something where it was going to be too expensive for everybody. Because they say that video games are like one of those recession-proof, depression-proof kind of things where like when you're cutting your expenses, when times are tough, you're cutting the bigger things. Like you're cutting travel, you're cutting maybe even eating out. But you, for whatever reason, illogically as it is, will still spend money on the entertainment. But you'll do it in good times too. Like it's one of those things where it's like, you're happy, let's celebrate by going to a movie. Oh, you're sad, I'm so sad, let's see a movie to change my emotional state. And so it is with video games.
Right.
Anyway.
Good times, bad times. Give me some of that. The immortal words of Edie Breckel. Look, it was on every copy of Windows 95. Yes, Led. No, wasn't she married to Paul Simon? Look, it doesn't matter. It's the other video that's not Weezer. Windows 95. It's so topical. I swear to God.
I worry that there's a listener that we have that understands every reference.
Right.
If you can catch every reference there, then you're like, you're just on a different plane of existence, I think, because the three of us don't catch every reference that we're making. Sometimes it's just like, I assume what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah.
But
if you catch every reference and one of us needs to be out, let us know so you can like tap in. And
yeah, absolutely. We will tag team out. I mean, it is a weekly show and it is it's a marathon, not a sprint.
That is true. Oh man, speaking of marathons, hey, remember Chao Tales? Yeah, right, because we've talked about it for the last 3 weeks. It's happened again. Slow and steady wins the race, and that's what I learned in Chao Raising. Except, actually, no, you want to hack it and give them the maximum stats so you can finally get those emblems and play Green Hill Zone. Episode 4, Shadow Chao. He's still there. And we see Sonic, he's playing the guitar.
Yes, and the guitar is a Sonic instrument from Sat AM, Sonic Underground, going way back. It's always been, but in the game canon, It's tough to think of like on the cover of Songs with Attitude, he's holding a guitar, it looks like. Could be a bass, but I think it's a guitar. And on Rockin' Sessions, he's holding a guitar. So we've seen him hold guitar in official artwork. Yeah. But in motion, and with audio, I think this is the first time we've heard Sonic play a tune. Very exciting. And then, I guess to summarize the 1 minute short, the Shadow Chao seems like he's going to come in and cause a ruckus, steals a drum quite rudely, and starts banging to his own beat. But then Sonic picks up on that beat. The other Chao join in and create a new song together with the Shadow Chao. This was, I think, my favorite one of the Chao Tales so far. But Blaze, what do you think? How have you been feeling about Chao Tales as a whole, and maybe this one in particular?
Well, I have a very sad announcement to make on that front. I forgot to watch these.
Oh,
fair enough.
I listened to like a past episode of your podcast when David contacted me to guest. I heard you guys talking about it then. And I was like, oh yeah, I should watch these before I go on. And then I completely spaced it out.
Oh,
that's okay. And honestly, that makes me feel good. And it should make the listener feel good that even you can be the number one Sonic fan. You can have all of the titles that David was giving Blaze about, what an ultimate fan you are. But even you are human and forget to watch some of the Sonic content that comes out sometimes. So that's why you can't catch every reference.
And to some degree, yes, that's why I can't catch every reference. And to some degree, I was also kind of just waiting. Once I heard that it was being distributed as all these YouTube shorts, figured, well, maybe I'll watch it when it's all done. Because they're only like, a minute or two each?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can catch up real fast.
Yeah. It
makes sense.
Right. Because we've been talking about Chao Tales, but we never talk about the Sonic and Friends shorts. Like, and those are even shorter.
Yeah, but you're right. It's within our jurisdiction. It's within our purview. We should be covering it.
We should be covering each and every moment. Like, oh, Sonic, did he collect those fruit? Amy thinks Sonic stole it. Everyone thinks, oh, maybe Shadow stole it. Maybe Eggman stole the fruit. Look, Sonic and Friends has no plot. It's mostly just TikTok dances, is what I've gathered. At least Chao Tales, I guess, it is Evan Stanley, who is part of the lore team, part of the inner circle. So it seems like and that's why I guess. But I mean, look, I didn't watch it until 30 seconds before we started recording, so I'm also like,
all right, well,
This one looks very good. A lot more focus on Sonic.
mm-hmm.
The art is quite good.
Right.
I'm happy they're making Chao stuff in 2025, as I said last time.
Yeah.
Is it a meal? No. Is it a snack? Not much of one. But is it nice? Yeah, sure.
I would say they're like individual M&Ms. And it does make some sense to wait to eat the whole package of M&Ms together rather than one M&M a week to prolong that package of M&Ms. That's a little bit what it's like. So we'll continue to talk about Chao Tales and other content. But hey, quick segue to the next thing.
Oh, yeah. What's your favorite kind of M&M?
Oh, the green one, because she's so sexy. And I can only think about making out with her when I'm eating M&Ms. I just wish the green M&M was anthropomorphic and real.
I'd get her a copy of Bambi for the PS2.
Yeah. That seems like a euphemism for something. Like, if I like broke that down of like, what does that mean? Like, why Bambi? I want to take her out back and shoot her, and I want to do it in not HD.
No one shoots.
No, nobody shoots Bambi. They shoot Bambi's mother.
Right. You're thinking about Old Yeller is, I think, what you're getting conflated with, because they take Old Yeller, spoilers, at the end. They take Old Yeller in the back and shoot. Although we never see the shot.
That's the yellow M&M.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. I was going to say peanut butter, but you went in a very different direction.
Oh, yeah. I love peanut butter M&Ms. Yeah.
Do the proper segue. This is
Lamborghinis. Canonically, Sonic's favorite car.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing a partnership with Sonic, and they posted about it a couple times on Instagram. There's a wrap on a car. It has Sonic on one side and Knuckles on the other side. It's key art that we have seen before of the characters. But Nito Skeeto, that's happening. And I was saying that all really is a toss away to throw it back to you for isn't there an actual story? Yes, there is. It's about Sonic 4, isn't it?
Oh yes. This is right. So once upon a time, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 was released, and then they made an episode 2, and then everyone forgot those games existed, and nobody ever talked about them again. However, recently, over at Obscure Gamers, which is a game preservation group, they purchased some Macintoshes. I forget if it was one or many. That it might have just been the one. It was a Sega workstation, and there were plenty of iOS, Apple iPhone material on there. Some finished games and some prototypes, and among those, specifically Sonic-wise, we got prototypes of Sonic 4, Episode 2, and the Sonic CD port that Taxman did in 2011. The 2011, the CD one, like, it has some extra stuff. Like Desert Dazzle and Final Fever are both there, although neither of them properly work, and Final Fever ends after 2 seconds into a bottomless pit. Woo! And we've actually seen the Desert Dazzle layout, because I think it's in Origins secretly, right? Was that where people finally found it?
Mania, maybe? I think it was before Origins.
Okay. Maybe it was hiding in like the original release of the CD iPhone port.
Yeah,
Maybe I forget. But the Sonic 4 Episode 2 prototypes, that's the one that I think has caught most people's imagination, because when that game was released, people went through the files. There was this one audio track which didn't go anywhere, and it seemed to point to a good ending where, oh, you get all the Chaos Emeralds, you see something else. We finally got to see that. We saw the cutscene, we saw Knuckles, we saw the Master Emerald, and we saw the Death Egg Mark II turn back on, and then a million tiny little egg station things appear around it, and you get that classic to be continued. It wasn't continued, but it was there. It was real, and people also found the models of the Master Emerald and Knuckles, and the Death Egg Mark II area in which the Master Emerald existed. So it's like, whoa, man, they really were planning to do a third one at one point, even though it seems like since it was removed from the final game, they were pretty much sure that the plug was going to be pulled anyway, even though there were rumblings at one point of Episode 3 happening in Australia. But, whoa, Sonic 2. I mean, Sonic 4 Episode 2, not Sonic 2.
Sonic 4 Episode 3.
Yes, that's basically
But within Episode 2. But this would have been Episode 3. And it would have been, I guess I had seen people guessing for a long time that had there been an Episode 3, it would have inevitably involved Knuckles and probably been some sort of a retread of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And this pretty much confirms that. So does that make you guys happy or sad that it didn't happen? Because keep in mind, Sonic 4 Episode 1 is what it is, but Episode 2 is more playable. So perhaps by Episode 3, it would have been even better. Or maybe it's better that they just kind of quietly, it's like All-Star Batman and Robin, where it's like, we're going to do this huge thing introducing Batman and Robin and how they came together. And then it came out and it was really, really bad. And Batman says like slurs at Robin and Jim Lee's drawing the crap out of it, but it's like insane Frank Miller dialogue. And they're like, you know what? Never mind that All-Star part. Never mind that Batman and Robin part. We're just going to cancel this book. So maybe it was better to just do that with Sonic 4. But what do you think?
Well, with like the rumor I heard, I think this might have been posted on Sonic Retro, maybe. I think Taxman said, as part of like the Australia thing, Sega was pinging him to work with Sega Studios Australia to work on Episode 3. So you figure, Taxman's involved. Maybe it would have been even better than Episode 2. But also, like, Episode 2 was just kind of fine. So I don't know.
Yeah, Episode 2 is underrated, but still not good. And I don't know if we got Episode 3 with Taxman, would we have gotten Mania?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
If that alternate history has no Mania in it, then I don't want to be in that branch of the timeline.
Right. Because that is interesting. Because if Mania, the original pitch was like, oh, we did the remakes of 1 and 2. Like, what if we put those together, put in a couple extra levels, release that, and then that's when Azuka was like, no, wait, what if we actually turn it into a proper game? If 1 and 2 aren't remade, and also if Christian Whitehead is working with Sega Studios Australia, then the Mania team is never put together. Stealth is on the sidelines, and then you never get Pagoda West, you never get Tom Fry, you never get Brad Flick, you never get the people who made Mania. So it's like, yeah, 3 could have then been the best, but it still would have been like, oh, here it is. And also, just from word of mouth, because of 1 and 2, the word of mouth of 1 and 2, 3, I feel like would have just been completely overlooked. If 2 had been an incredible success, I'm sure they would have made Episode 3.
Yeah, the worst possible timeline is that it comes out and is great. Then what do? You make Episode 4? Do you make Sonic 5 Episode 1? Like, what do you do? You're kind of you're cornered then. However, I agree with what you guys are saying, but I would trade Encore mode in Sonic Mania Plus for a dedicated Knuckles campaign, which is maybe in the Episode 3 that I'm imagining. But I'm just saying that that's, what do you call that? That's a complete straw man, the argument where nobody's arguing against you. That's what it's called, right? Yeah.
And to David's point, I ended up, trying to figure out the timeline of all of this. They would have had to cancel this Episode 3 teaser because the Sega Studios Australia, they did Castle of Illusion HD, right? Castle of Illusion came out after Episode 2. So that means they took this teaser out for Episode 3 before Castle of Illusion even bombed, didn't sell well, and they dissolved Sega Studios Australia. So they kind of knew things were coming. They knew Episode 2 probably wasn't going to be that big of a deal, and they just cut the whole thing off at the legs.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, because I feel like also the culture of Sonic, I don't know, the way Sonic was being perceived prior to Sonic 4, and then once Sonic 4 Episode 2 came out, there was a shift, because what happened in between, you got Colors, and then you got Generations, and then you also got the CD port that Taxman did, and it's like those games did a lot of goodwill, and Sonic 4, even though it technically did well, I mean, it did well enough to warrant Episode 2 to come out. It didn't do as much to what are the words I'm looking for? All the words are escaping me, but like the image, the public perception of Sonic, like it went up because of Colors and Generations.
Yeah.
And so episode 2 just felt like this sort of bygone relic of before they were refocusing all their energy. Of course, then Lost World came out in 2013, but and may have and then boom.
Yes.
But either way.
Yes. I can't say it's well said because
No.
we both fell apart. You fell apart, I fell apart. We're struggling. It's okay. But comes a segue that's going to blow minds.
Okay.
Sonic 4 Episode 1, Sonic 4 Episode 2. Paramount may be thinking along the same lines because we were getting rumors this week that they want to expand the Sonic movie universe.
Mhm.
Now, we know that they have previously looked to game titles like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, when Knuckles, the TV series, came out in the same year as Sonic 3. That wasn't an accident. They did it intentionally, or at least the producers and writers have accepted credit for it, which they should. So Sonic 4, should it be a two-parter? Or are there spin-offs that are like, is there a spin-off that you want to see or that you think is likely or inevitable? What do you think they're going to do, I guess? Is there going to be a Shadow movie? Is there going to be a Knuckles Season 2? At what point does Rouge come in? At what point are the Chaotix there? What about Silver the Hedgehog? How about the IDW characters? What about Trip? Mighty and Ray? We know Metal Sonic and Amy.
Wendy Witchcart.
Yeah.
Madonna. We're bringing in Madonna. We're tying it into Dick Tracy as well.
We have to mention Professor Boobowski. Legally, we have to bring it up, the Sonic Extreme characters.
Right. I would lose my mind if anyone said Boobowski in a Sonic movie.
Thomas Wachowski.
Yeah, he's close.
It is. Maybe they changed the name, right? So like his ancestors were the Boobowskis, but then when they landed on Ellis Island, it was changed to Wachowski.
Exactly.
Do you think Thomas Wachowski is related to the Wachowski sisters, the filmmakers of The Matrix and Speed Racer?
Whoa. Huh. Like distant cousins?
Could be.
Probably close enough relatives that they got the Christmas card and said, "Hey, I hope you guys saw our movie. It's doing really well, box office."
Yeah, that I feel like that would be it. Like maybe they saw each other at Christmas or in like maybe Easter once.
Okay.
It's that sort of distant family.
See, you don't think a Speed Racer x Sonic the Hedgehog collaboration is coming by bridging the reality of Thomas Wachowski with the Wachowskis?
All right. I mean, I'd be into it, but I feel like it's more likely that somehow Sonic crosses over with the Fast and Furious universe, considering who the producers are.
That's true.
Right. And since it's all about family, and the Sonic movies are also somehow about family.
Every movie is about family.
Right.
Somehow.
Well, Sonic because of the Applebee's. No.
Oh, so,
Wait, no, I'm sorry. Olive Garden.
Olive Garden, yes. Where
Yeah,
you're
right.
your family.
right.
And
Exactly.
Applebee's, it's all good in the neighborhood, which is that's
right.
more of a Mario thing, I guess.
Right. What is? Yeah. Do you think Applebee's is Mario's favorite chain restaurant?
Yeah,
Or-
and Chili's is Crash. and I feel like that's right.
Okay. Well, then, which video game character loves Denny's the most?
Spyro the Dragon, of course.
Yeah. That just
Okay.
clicks in
Uh-huh.
really easily.
Bubsy's at the Waffle House.
Of course, Bubsy's
Yeah.
at the Waffle House.
Yeah.
Croc is at Denny's.
Right, and then there's IHOP.
None of them like IHOP.
None of them.
Yeah.
Not even Arrow the Acrobat. You don't think he goes to
KO the Kangaroo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
course. There you go.
There's so many KO the Kangaroo games that there's like 4. There's more than 4.
What?
I don't know how many games there are. There's
There's at
at
least
least
2.
3 or 4.
Are we counting like remakes and re-releases?
No, I swear on your life, there's like a numbered KO the Kangaroo 4. I'm gonna Google it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know there's a 3. I think 3 is the modern one. Maybe they've announced a 4.
Oh my god, I'm wrong. Oh god. I don't know if this means you have to live or die, but
Live or let die.
there are 5 KO the Kangaroo games.
Oh,
But
5.
None of them have 4 in the
Huh.
title.
Nobody does 4 as the suffix. It's always 1, 2, 3, D, then the year.
Right.
Right.
Initially, you do Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
After 3.
Right. I mean,
Forever After.
all right. Hey, I mean, Mega Man used numbers.
Mm-hmm.
and they still make Mega Man games today,
Nah,
right?
I think it's been quite a while.
Get quite.
It's been quite a while.
Final Fantasy, they use numbers.
Confusingly.
They use Roman numerals.
Right. Of course,
Yeah.
4 was not called 4 here.
Right, it was
2.
What was it?
I think 4 was 2, right? And then 6 was 3. So they skipped 2, 3, and 5. Of course, I think at this point they've all been released here because of endless remakes and re-releases. But
Yeah.
Back in the day, Final Fantasy 3 seemed like a big deal, but I didn't have a Super Nintendo as established earlier because Mario is my safe word. I never got the chance.
Yes. And okay, great. Well, that's all the Sonic news. So let's check in with Sega Saturn news and then with our buddy Barry. But Bo, what's up with Rings of Saturn?
Let's see. It's the 30th anniversary of the release of Astal, the 1995 Sega 2D beat-em-up game that looks great on the Saturn. Never got any sequels. Got some appearances in the Archie Sonic books. Anyway, I took a look into Astal and I found something mildly interesting. There's like an unused title screen that has like a level select and a sound test. It's better than the level select and the sound test you can get at naturally. I would guess it's a remnant from development. I was hoping to find some new cheat codes or, I don't know, play as the bird or the princess or something, but I'll settle for this. So that's Saturn news. And then this weekend I'm going to do a Dreamcast thing.
Oh,
Do you guys remember Elemental Gimmick Gear? EGG?
Egg.
Oh,
Egg, yeah.
sure.
Eggman.
Yeah, so this is one of the early Dreamcast RPGs. Got, middling reviews. The developer never made another Dreamcast game. The publisher never released another Dreamcast game. But, I kind of liked it.
The only qualification you need.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I remember of it. I do know the title, and I must have seen it either in a store or a magazine ad in EGM or something. But somehow that rings a vague bell in the back of my mind.
Yeah, anyway, this game does have a pretty substantial debug menu that I'm going to hack into it. And so if you're a fan of Egg and you've been hanging out this long waiting for something new, boy, do I have something for you.
Yes.
Oh, right, this game. I just looked it up. It's got this
Yeah.
really beautiful, like 2D art style. The art kind of reminds me of Moon Remix RPG a little bit, if anyone knows what that is.
I do know what that is. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it looks great.
Well, then why did it get middling reviews? Was it just like out of its era? Like if it had come out now or 5 years beforehand, everyone would have loved it? Is it one of those things?
I think maybe beforehand people would have loved it. The English translation is really quite poor. Yeah, the kids weren't into the JRPGs in 2000. Was it 99 or 2000? One of the two.
Well, either way, it's been 25 years.
Yeah.
I think it has kind of a unique combat system where like you spin around like the Tasmanian devil and you bump into enemies.
No.
Well, yeah, actually there's the 2D sections where you're running around the fields, the adventure fields, as it were. And then in the combat, it's like fully 3D
Right.
polygon kind of thing,
Okay.
which kind of looks cool. That was still novel enough in that period.
You mentioned the Tasmanian Devil. So that's the connective to... Wasn't there a Dreamcast game that was a Looney Tunes racer that also got middling reviews?
There was, yeah.
Space Race.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
I think it was on everything, though, right? Was that an early PS2 game?
It came out on Dreamcast first, I think, and then after the Dreamcast went away, it came out on PS2.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's not, like you said, it's not great, but it's not terrible. The animation's nice. It's Looney Tunes,
It's kind of cel-shaded looking, right?
Yeah, it's cel shaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been wondering, quick question. Okay, if the answer is what's Opera Doc, and then what's number 2 of what's the best like Bugs Bunny media? It might be the sweatshirts from the 90s. That's what my position is. That or Crazy Castle. After what's Opera Doc and like the top like couple cartoons from the 50s.
My father wore a Looney Tunes sweater to my wedding.
That's what I'm talking about. That's so great.
Wow. That's the only way to live.
It's one of those things like Looney Tunes was so ubiquitous when I was a kid. It just kind of like, in my memory, it just all kind of merges into this slurry of jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kids today have no idea.
That's right.
There's no recognition.
I bet. That makes sense because they're mostly trying to kill each other
Yeah.
in the shorts. And most of it is about driving other people insane out of spite. And then there's like the dated references to like celebrities of the era.
Right, who are all dead now.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's like James Cagney, or it's like, I don't even know if they, or like Humphrey Bogart.
Peter Lorre.
Peter Lorre, yes.
Right. Oh,
yes, of course.
Oh, yes. He's my favorite.
But there were a bunch of great Tiny Toons games when we were growing up on the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, because it was just like the right time for stuff. So the Konami Busters games.
Yeah, Buster's Hidden Treasure. And then what was the Game Boy one? The Game Boy Tiny Toons game where you play, you're going to rescue Babs? Why can't I think of it?
Trouble in Wacky Land?
No, it's not Wacky Land. It's a Buster or Babs Big Break, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
I don't know. I played it a million times because it was one of the 6 Game Boy games I had as a child. And so I knew every single inch of that game.
Acme All-Stars, Tiny Toons, Sega Genesis, little sports compilation with like a little basketball, soccer. I think there was bowling as well.
Football?
I don't know if there was football. I feel like I would remember if there was, because I did play football games like Joe Montana.
I think there might have been, though. That, like, the image
It's not impossible.
Of Montana Max wearing the football helmet.
That might be in Buster Bust Loose for the Super Nintendo, though. I think there was like a mini game level.
Oh, was there? Okay.
I don't remember.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, there was a Wacky Sports Challenge, a similar Tiny Toons sports game for the SNES with a different set of sports.
Right.
Oh.
From the era where games didn't get ported, they just got remade wholesale for each platform.
Yeah.
That's right. It was a wild time.
Wild time. You know who's having a wild time? Our buddy Barry, who's out in Japan, but he's still going to promote his show Sega Bits and Sega Talk right now. Right, David?
That's right. That's right. I'm also Barry. Yep, that's me. I'm advertising everything. I was in Japan and now I'm not. I saw some Star Wars, but that's not Sonic, so you don't get to hear about it. I don't know. What does he say? He records.
That's what he says.
I don't know what he says ahead of time.
Hello, Sonic Weekly listeners. I'm here to tell you about a show that you may enjoy, the longest running Sega. Yeah. I like Barry's ads.
I like Barry's ads too.
Yeah. That's why I do this, because I'm clearly like not even trying to emulate it. I'm just being a goof.
Hey listeners of Sonic Weekly, this is Barry from Sega Bits to tell you about a few of our shows. Sega Talk is a bi-weekly show in which my co-host George and I look back on the many games in Sega history. The Swing and Report Show Live is a Sega interview show and the longest-running Sega podcast of all time. Listen to interviews with special guests like former Sega CEO Tom Kalinske, Sonic voice actor Roger Craig Smith, and many more. Watch or listen at youtube.com/SegaBits or search Sega Bits on your podcatcher of choice.
Well, we're back. It's Sonic Weekly, and Blaze, now the spotlight is getting wheeled over to a new position and spun so that the light shines in your direction, almost like you're being interrogated. But we talked about earlier your first Sonic memories.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've been following you on the internet for a long time, and you've got some videos that are like Sonic 3, like you've got like a pretty definitive Sonic 3 video.
Some of my most popular YouTube videos are about old versions of games that aren't very playable anymore and how to get them working again on modern hardware. The best ways to play them. They are called The Definitive Way to Play XYZ. It started with The Definitive Way to Play Sonic Adventure, because that PC port is notoriously pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And then The Definitive Way to Play Sonic R. The biggest one, the most complex one, the hardest one for me to put together was the definitive way to play Sonic 3. Because even though these are basically tutorial videos at their heart, I like to give history of the game beforehand, kind of lead up to how they got broken, why they're in the state that they are. And obviously with Sonic 3, that went through a whole nasty period where like Sega was pretending that game didn't exist. So I had to cover why that was, where to still get the game, because the number of places you could still get Sonic 3 for a while there was like the Steam version was basically all there was. It was taken off Xbox Live Arcade, PSN, everywhere.
Yeah.
And then most recently I did one on Sonic Adventure 2, and I've been trying to get a part 2 for Sonic Adventure 2 going for a couple years now, because after producing the original Sonic Adventure 2 video, like the modding scene for that game exploded. Like there was so many mods, so many new mods to correct things that I complained about in my original video. So I've been trying to get something going on that front to update people on what the current situation of Sonic Adventure 2 is.
Yeah, because it feels like there was so much time spent on fixing Sonic Adventure just because it was so much more obviously broken and different than the Dreamcast version. Like, right, because the history of like starting on the Dreamcast, porting to GameCube and PC and 360 and back, like the whole all around.
Right.
SA2 at least somewhat looked consistent, and I think a lot of people just assumed, well, that's about it, even if there's one or two little things broken.
Right, like with Sonic Adventure 2, I wasn't even necessarily aware of half of what was broken in that port until another user on YouTube, Speeps Highway. She has this really comprehensive video comparing Dreamcast, GameCube, and PC, I believe. It was really eye-opening just how much got broken in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. All the textures, missing geometry and cutscenes, broken animations, weird sound problems. Like, that version is so subtly broken in ways people might not even realize.
Yeah. Because I hadn't played SA2 on the PC for ages. Like, I got it in a Steam bundle at one point, but it's like if I played it, I generally just played the Dreamcast version. I never even had it on GameCube. So
neither did I.
Yeah. And then when I decided to play it on a lark a few years ago, I installed it, and immediately I was like, oh wait, something's broken, because I had the glitch at the very beginning. You're going down City Escape. There's a truck that just follows you, and it's stuck behind you like forever. And it's a glitch. It's based on, I forget if it's the specific graphics card or the processor, but it is something where some people won't ever see it. But then, if you have an AMD system or it was an NVIDIA card or whatever, I forget the exact cause of it, it's there. And you get it even when you're done boarding. I was going to say, it's not snowboarding. You're not skateboarding. You're just boarding down the road. It'll still follow you. And it's the weirdest thing. But I had no idea it existed until it happened to me, and I looked it up and I was like, that's weird.
That's a PC exclusive bug?
That was a PC exclusive bug, yes. But only for certain PCs.
It's funny that you mention Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on GameCube, because I recently modded my Wii for the very first time and have been playing GameCube games that I own physically, but am now also playing off of a USB drive. So it doesn't have my old save on it, or it could, but it doesn't. So for no great reason, I just have I'm like, I'm just going to play the first level of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, just to look at it, just to see, just for a second, just to compare. But now I'm almost done playing the Hero campaign. And I think I'm just going to do Hero, because the Dark campaign is really where you, for me, like, lose interest in the game and like start to remember, this game's not that great.
Yeah, like Shadow only has like 3 levels.
Right.
Yeah. And like the Eggman, it's just the sound design is so rough in the game with the Emerald radar and the beeping in the Eggman and Tails stages. They're so irritating to the ear.
And this epic moment, City Escape, jump out of a helicopter, great sound playing, and then just screeching metal the entire first part of it.
Yeah. It's better to just kind of make a custom playlist and turn the sound off. But yeah, I don't know, because I also was just recently replaying it on Dreamcast, because our pal Barry sent me a VMU where I could replay the Green Hill Zone on that with all the emblems. I downloaded it in 2000 and then I got rid of the download, but now I had it. So I've been kind of comparing, not even really meaning to, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and Sonic Adventure Dreamcast. And Sonic Adventure 2, you're right. It is like, I don't know that I would have to like rewatch your video to like identify a lot of differences, because off the top of my head, like Sonic Adventure, it's really clear. DX is very different from Sonic Adventure Dreamcast. But Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, aside from like the title screen adding a battle mode, what are some of what's like the major change?
Well, you bring up how the sound in Sonic Adventure 2 is so abrasive. That's kind of by design. I bring this up in my video. I've still never gotten like hard confirmation from someone who actually knows Dreamcast hardware, but it sounds most likely to me Like the Dreamcast had a very special piece of sound hardware that basically had what is known as a compressor over. I mean, if you doing podcast stuff, you probably know what a compressor is. It compresses the audio. And specifically on the Dreamcast, the way that worked is you could play audio above 100% volume. What that would mean is that the compressor would catch it and make sure that it didn't like blow out your speakers or sound horrible or anything like that. It just would sound kind of like, for music terms, it's like an overdrive effect. It makes the sound really crunchy and harsh and like a guitar, basically, like, that kind of scratchy sound. The GameCube doesn't have this sound processor, so it is just playing sounds at maximum volume no matter what. Music will drown out voices that are perfectly audible in the Dreamcast version. That obviously transfers over to the PC version. There's now a sound mod that will fix that. It'll make it sound like the Dreamcast version, where all the audio is balanced properly so that nothing's too loud anymore. Cutscenes are a big deal. For some weird reason, something about the way Dreamcast rendered lighting on polygons is completely different from the way the GameCube or the PC does it. So there's a lot of cutscenes with like a lot of lighting differences between the Dreamcast and the GameCube and PC versions. Characters are shadowed differently. Sometimes they're just missing shadows entirely in the GameCube and PC version. Obviously, there's little stuff. There's the additional features they added for Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. There's like extra rain effects now in White Jungle. There's extra geometry in some levels, like in City Escape. But mostly, it comes down to sound and cutscenes and controls.
Mm-hmm.
The third thing is obviously controls. Another unique feature, I guess, is the way the Dreamcast handled analog stick input. For whatever reason, when Sega ports their games to other consoles, more often than not, the analog stick input is broken for some reason. It happened with Knights, it happened with Crazy Taxi, but what this means for Sonic Adventure 2 is that, especially, it kind of happens on the GameCube version a little bit, but especially on the PC version, grind rails are completely broken. There's supposed to be this whole complicated leaning system where you lean into turns as you grind down grind rails. It completely does not work on the PC version because the analog stick ranges are a total mess. It doesn't calculate it properly. You can't lean properly. So it's harder to pick up speed on grind rails in the PC version. There used to be a mod to fix that would just completely remove analog input from grind rails entirely, but now there is a top to bottom controller fix for the PC version that restores everything exactly the way it should be. You can control the PC version exactly like the Dreamcast version now.
Thinking about Sonic X Shadow Generations and talking about these different ports and versions with you now, it's not unique to Sonic, but it does make me wish for the simpler time with Sonic or Mario, where there was just the one cartridge version, and then just the more, I guess every time there's a new successive hardware generation and then it gets ported forward, there's just like a new crop of problems or issues, or like sometimes good additions, but like, I don't know, like, I mean, that's the heart of like what your videos are getting to is like, well, it's overwhelming. Like, okay, I want to play Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Everyone says how good this game Sonic 3 and Knuckles is. Where do I go for that?
Right, and to some degree, that's like a wider industry problem with remasters in general.
Yes, right.
With movies, you can just I have in a video I just put out like 2 weeks ago. I make an example. I have a DVD of Shrek that I got in 2002. I can still put that DVD in my PS5 and watch it just fine. But when it comes to video games, there has to be remasters. You have to translate a code base from an old hardware to a new hardware. And usually that means cutting corners because a remaster is a cheap project. It's a quick project. They can't really spend a lot of time to make sure it gets perfect, that everything translates properly to the new hardware. Famously, that's what happened with Sonic Adventure. The original plan for Sonic Adventure DX was apparently a lot more grand than what we got. You see this in early levels. Like, if you compare Emerald Coast in Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast to Emerald Coast in Sonic Adventure DX, you can tell they were making like lighting engine improvements. They were trying to do like real-time shadows. And then you get past Emerald Coast into later levels, and those improvements disappear because they ran out of time and they ran out of money to keep implementing those improvements in the remaster.
Yeah, right. The Sonic Adventure DX port, I feel like it just felt like such a disappointment all the way around, especially when it was being marketed as DX and Director's Cut. I remember, being online and seeing people go, "Oh, does that mean they're going to like add in an extra level or two, or are they gonna like?" Because there was always this sense, even when the original Sonic Adventure came out, like, was there supposed to be something more to it? I think primarily because of those Metal and Mecha Sonic floating in tubes. That's always what stuck with me. And it's like, whoa, maybe they're going to be like, maybe you could fight them, maybe you can play as them. I mean, I guess technically you unlock Metal Sonic, but he's a different model even. And I don't like it. It was like, why is he different?
Even he was kind of broken. Like his animations are messed up.
Yeah. I know there's a mission mode, but that mission mode is not. That's it. It felt like it wasn't enough to get you in there. It certainly wasn't something that was meant to be there before. It felt glued on.
Right. It's busy work.
Yeah, and because like I said, I never got SA2 Battle, but I did get Sonic Adventure DX because I thought that there was going to be something special.
Have you ever played through the missions on Adventure DX?
I have not done all of them. I've done a number of them, but not all of them.
I think one of them is actually impossible. There's one in Ice Cap.
Oh,
as Sonic.
Or the one where you like do the 3 jumps at the very end of the level.
Yeah, you got to hit the last jump on the end and grab a thing. I think it's impossible.
I did do them all on the GameCube once upon a time.
Okay, it might work on the GameCube.
On the PC, I think I read somewhere that like if you have any mods on, it breaks that mission entirely.
That might be it. I had the Dreamcast conversion mod,
yeah, like there something about the Dreamcast conversion mod breaks that mission, and I don't know why. I don't know if they fixed it since, but way back I remember that being a thing where somebody was like, I could only beat it after I turned everything off and was playing the most vanilla broken version of Sonic Adventure DX. It's like, why does it make any sense?
Yeah, my last attempt on those missions was when I legally acquired the 2004 PC port way back in the day, and I did about half the missions then.
Right.
I went, man, I'm never touching these again.
We love legally acquiring things here.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the least broken official release of Sonic Adventure? Because the one I bought on $99.99 didn't boot, so I feel like that's the low point.
I mean, that's probably it. That's probably the most functional version.
I remember the version of Sonic Adventure that I have on Dreamcast is actually the Sega All-Stars version with the orange and black, what do you call it, jewel case spine. I had the launch day $99.99 white jewel case version. I traded it in at some point because I was at that time thinking that might be a thing that I would do. I would participate in the trading in economy of video games to save money somehow. But also, I was thinking that I would get the new version of Sonic Adventure that I heard had fixes in it. And I don't think there were any fixes. I think the title screen was a little different. It like had the water effect. I don't think there were significantly any differences. But I just say that to underline that from the very first time playing Sonic Adventure, from the Hollywood Video Blockbuster rental, it was very clear this was a broken, janky game, and please God, somebody fix it. And that never, or maybe it's happened now with mods, but it's just a game that I've always accepted as having some jank. So I personally don't have a ton of like animosity against DX, even though I do agree that Dreamcast is the better way to play it. But if somebody says to me, I played Sonic Adventure, it was DX, the GameCube version, I'm like, well, you did play Sonic Adventure.
Right.
Like you've experienced it.
And on my videos, I get comments I like that a lot. Like, oh, I grew up with the GameCube version and I think it's the best. And it's like, well, okay. I don't agree with that, but you're valid, right?
Yeah.
Some people like Nickelback,
Yeah,
they like
exactly.
That is true. They might have been listening to it as they played it. There might be a mod that replaces all the music in Sonic Adventure with Nickelback. I don't know.
I did once mod Sonic 2 to play Bad Religion's song Supersonic when you turn supersonic, and then replace the version of Sonic 2 on my roommate's laptop with that, and just waited for him to stumble upon it months later. Finally happened.
Fine. Did he realize it was you, or did he just accept it?
Who else could have done that?
You never know. It could have been a super secret hacker, but that's the only thing they ever do. They break into your PC, swap out one song. Yeah.
Or a super secret code like the Donkey code in Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't get that reference at all. Like,
yeah.
I like Donkey. What is I forget what's in Mania though. It a reference to him, but what is it?
it's not even in the current builds, right?
No.
Yeah, it got taken out. Sega didn't like it. I think it's in Hydro City Act 2. There's some specific, I think it's the hands that pop out of the ground and grab you and make you shoot off real fast. The sound they make is replaced by Donkey going like, or something like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right, because there had been a Donkey video prior where he was playing through Sonic 3. And whenever he would hit one of those, he would make that sound.
I see.
So they thought it'd be funny, I guess, to clip the sound, sneak it into Mania. Then somebody found it, and then Sega went, "Oh, you can't do that," and they patched it out. I think officially they went, "Oh, that was never meant to be in there," but
Yeah.
Look,
The 2010s, the late 2010s, they were a different time. You think, oh, they weren't that far from now. They're pretty much the same. But then you think about things like that, Sonic Mania, Donkey codes. That's a 2010s kind of thing.
Right.
It's a 2017 kind of thing, 2018 kind of thing.
Imagine that. In 2 years, Sonic Mania will be 10 years old.
That is true.
Yeah, so true.
That is a strange thing to think about. I still remember it so clearly when it was announced. Partly because I was there, partly because I was drinking. It was a wild time.
Yes.
It's just been a thing. It's just been part of the Sonic canon.
Yeah. Different time.
Yeah. We've gotten so many Sonic games since.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even the last 2D game. Like, Superstars exists.
Yeah.
And it's not the last time we saw classic Sonic, because Superstars exists.
Yeah.
And in Sonic X Shadow Generations,
Yeah.
Sonic, I don't know. But, I think time passes, but it's never, I don't know. I guess I was trying to think of something eloquent to say about time and movement and aging and how we're all still young at heart because Sonic the Hedgehog is forever 15, right?
Yes.
I think there's something about that.
I think there's something there because we are getting to the end of the show. And so now is the time to say, is there any last comments, questions, or concerns for Blaze or for Blaze to us or to anybody for any reason?
Well, there you go. Yeah. We are at the end, as we are always at the end. At the end. It'd be weird if I did this part in the beginning. There was that one episode where we play things backwards. This whole show is a blur sometimes.
Half remembering stuff is the vibe.
That is. I can't even be certain that we've all played Sonic the Hedgehog at this point. Like, maybe I did? Maybe I just watched it once. Maybe I was just, trying to hitchhike across the country and somebody told me they were Sonic and I believed them. And I just rode on their back all the way through Iowa. But hey, if you're somewhere in Iowa and you're all holding on to somebody and you've gotten this far, you know what? It seems like a great reason to, hey, subscribe to the show if you haven't already, right? I don't know. Where are we? We're on whatever podcatcher of choice you prefer. There's Apple Podcasts. There's Spotify. There's, for the Android faithful, Podcast Addict. So many choices where you can subscribe, where you can rate it, where you can write reviews, all that stuff. We appreciate each and every time, each and every subscribe, each and every review. But we also appreciate those who reject all podcatchers and instead subscribe over on YouTube. That's right, at Sonic-Weekly. You can like, you can comment, you can subscribe, and our voices, as always, are joined by video game footage recorded by friend of the show, Jack of Old Games. It gives you something to stimulate all your senses. That's what YouTube's about. Except taste. Don't lick YouTube. It's a bad idea. if you want to reach out to the show, like Grant said, we have a mailbag. We have one. We read each and every email, and that email address is sonicweeklypodcast@gmail.com. Emailing us is also how you can get the link to our Discord server, where you can talk to some like-minded Sonic the Hedgehog fans about many things up to and including Sonic T. Hedgehog. If you've liked what you heard and you're able to support us financially, we are also over on Ko-fi. That's right. We're just Sonic Weekly over there. Throw something in the tip jar, or for $5 a month, you can become one of our executive producers, just like PigDan, Pabsy, Sonikku, SavingThrows, Belgarion, and AltSynth. If you do that, you can get some stickers, some actual physical objects that you can stick to the wall or stick to your face. Those, of course, are always done by wife of the Grant Ashland. Why not? It's cool. You can show your support, but if you can't, we just appreciate the fact you're able to listen. Once again, got to thank our guest, Blaze Hedgehog, for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I almost forgot to thank Smoovies for the edit. Aha! Can't forget him. He fixes all this. Every time I stumble, every time I forget what we're doing, he's like, "Oh, I won't let anyone know." So if we ever do this live, it'll be like if we did it on stage. Like, let's say we went to a podcast festival, we had an audience of thousands. I'm just pretending, right? It'd probably be like 50 in that audience, but you know what? Then you get to see. I don't know what I'm doing.
Sonic Weekly Live, it's coming. David's promised it. It's going to happen. It's happening soon. Thank you, David. Thank you, Bo. Thank you, Blaze. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Smoovies.
Yes.
David, anything?
Oh, I was going to say thank you, Bo, and thank you, Grant. I didn't get to that point yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Hey, it's thanks all around.
Thank you.
High fives.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, man. We watched the one episode of Zelda on Prime Video. And he's no less than 3 times does "excuse me" 3 times in the first episode.
We did that recently too, and they're playing the music the whole time, just the entire cartoon.
Yeah,
they want you to know. Yeah, and yet with Sonic, they never do. Like, no. I guess AOSTH, there's some bits of Sonic, but SatAM, no, there's not a single note from the games.
Yeah,
but Mario, they didn't know what else to do.
Yeah,
they had 3 songs. They're going to use them, except for all that licensed music that they had to remove in the DVD releases.
And Crash's Chili's. Okay, bye.